because it does take a few more minutes for everybody to come in, and especially there's a Zoom update tonight. And so it's going to take a little longer for people to come in, and I'd hate for them to miss the segment. So yeah, let's do that.
You have any announcements?
Yeah, a couple things. Number one, just a reminder for Moms Group. Here, let me, just a reminder, everybody, for Moms Group, every Wednesday, 11 a.m., we take an hour and we just connect, get to know each other, talk about the topic for the night before. If you haven't joined us already, please join us. You'll totally be welcome. So don't be shy if you haven't joined us yet. It's a great way to get to know the other ladies from Battlefield. So please join us at 11. If you need the Zoom link, you can reach out to me or Kristen. We'd love to have you. And then I wanted to announce what's coming. More details are coming. Our second annual Run for Recovery kept getting bumped out because of COVID. And then again, it kept being bumped and blah, blah, blah. So ultimately what it's going to end up being is a virtual deal because of all these, the COVID delays and whatnot. And I believe next week, Mr. Tim Keaty will join us on Zoom and announce the details of that. He's the one who heads all that up, and he's been working on it. And so it's going to be a virtual opportunity. And so stay tuned for that. I know I've gotten some reach outs of wondering, people thinking it was in August, and it is coming. We just, we're kind of still hoping and hanging on that it could possibly be in person because it's way funner that way, but it will not be in person 2020. We have finally, realize that that is just the reality, but we are going to do a virtual for 2021, and then May of 2022 we will be hopefully okay by then to do our live deal. And so yeah, other than that, I don't have any announcements. Do we want to pass it over to Kyle, our comedian?
Yeah, we could go right into Kyle's corny comedy corner.
Let's do it. Is he there with you, or is he on a screen?
He's here.
Great. He is here. So, hey, everybody, this is Kyle Munkers. If you don't already know, Kyle is a manager over there at Rebuild Recovery, and he is also our famous comedian each week. So go ahead and take it away, Kyle.
Okay. During labor, the pain is so great that women can almost imagine what a man goes through when he has a fever. I went to the gas station to put air in my tires. It cost me $1.50 per tire. That's inflation for you. My therapist told me to write letters to people who have hurt me and then to burn them. I just don't know what to do with the letters.
Oh, I like that.
You like that one, huh?
That's it. That's it. What's Jehovah's Witnesses' favorite band? The Doors.
I don't get it.
Because they're always knocking on doors.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No. Well, people are always asking me how it is that I'm always able to get a gorgeous woman's attention. I don't. What did 50 Cent do when he was hungry? 58. Past, present, and future walk into a bar. It was tense. If Google had a gender, it would be a woman, because it doesn't let you finish a sentence before giving you a suggestion.
Okay. All right.
For his next joke.
Yeah.
That's good.
I got into an argument with the other manager here, Kyle. He came up to me and said, "Kyle, you're a cheetah." I said, no, you were lying. I have a very secure job because no one else wants it.
Very good, Kyle.
Very good, Kyle. Thank you.
I love my job.
We got to chill on the vaping, guys, because that sound. Can you hear the sound tonight when they're vaping, Ange?
Yes.
Yeah, we got to stop with that, guys. Just give it a break.
Sounds like Darth Vader, and that's what we were hearing last week. like a breathing machine.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to try this tonight. We're going to have a spotlight song. Tonight's is dedicated to us by Nico. He wanted us to hear the song, and I heard it this week and love it. I mean, I've heard the song before, but I haven't heard this version. So we're going to watch it all together and try to maybe next week, if any of you have an idea for a song that we could spotlight, maybe a new artist or anything like that, please send it our way. So here we go.
That was so beautiful. Such a beautiful song. Thank you, Nico.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
How's the sound?
The sound sounds good. I'll let you know if that changes, but so far we seem to be good. And so if you want to share just again, for anybody who just came on, a new segment we're starting, that was a dedication to start out the night, a dedication from Nico. And we actually have a song that we'll put on the queue for next week, lined up from Riley from last week, because it's a really good song for with a really great intention. So we'll put that in the queue. But if anybody has any songs like that that are extra meaningful to you, that you think would be good to share at Solution Group, feel free throughout the week to shoot it on to me. And if you're watching this recording and you're not here live, you weren't able to hear the song because of copyright, I have to stop the recording. So otherwise it won't allow me to upload any of Solution Group to YouTube or Facebook or anything like that. But you can look up the song. It was Mike Posner. Can you say again what it was called?
I Took a Pill.
I Took a Pill by Mike Posner. So you can look that up. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Look up the lyrics too. I watched it a couple days ago when Nico shared it, and I've watched it quite a bit, and it's just really beautiful.
I very rarely kind of try to discuss and look into what we're all here for. I think that a lot of the time we talk about someone's not muted.
No, everybody's muted. But I did hear something weird.
Okay, we'll try again. I think it's called for sometimes. I think sometimes we got to just get basic, and it's pretty bad, Ange.
It is.
I think it might be you. I don't know.
Well, I have my fan on. Let's see if this helps. I'll mute myself.
But it just keeps showing up no matter what we do. We still are in the face of this thing, and everyone on here is in the face of addiction and looking at it and trying to figure out what it is. And, one thing that I know for sure is after 11 years, I really thought I knew what addiction was. And I thought that I had a grasp on it. I thought I had a grasp on all of it. I thought I had a grasp on solutions, and I thought I had a grasp on, a pretty clear module of how one would get out of addiction and what needs to be done with a person who suffers from addiction. I asked this girl, it's becoming a kind of a manufactured response. I was down in LA this week, and there was a girl there, and I asked her, one question. I said, she told me she was 3 years sober. So I asked her, I said, well, have you figured it out yet? And she goes, figured what out? And I go, I figured out why you use drugs. And she said, trauma. You know, and she just said it so matter of factly, like, you know, it's the only answer. And, you know, I really wonder where you get an answer like that. And I wonder how someone comes up with that, you know. I don't know if it's that easy. You know, there's a lot of people that say addiction comes from trauma, but, you know, we're in the middle of an epidemic, and then you have to trace it back. And if we're in the middle of an epidemic, then first, if addiction comes from trauma, and then we're in the middle of an epidemic, then we must be in the middle of a trauma epidemic. It must have been an outbreak of trauma that's caused this current drug epidemic. But I doubt that's true. I doubt that trauma has increased anything to the measures that it's different than it was in the early 2000s, or different from the 1990. I don't think it's that. So I keep looking into it, and I keep trying to, like, you know, get a grasp on it, but I don't think it's possible. And today I think that, and we talk about it being insanity. I'm sure it's insanity, but I don't think it's individual insanity. I was on the airplane today. When we got off the airplane, or when the plane landed, we were taxiing to the gate. And, you know, they first got to announce, hey, don't get up, people. They got to tell people, don't get up, don't get out of your seat until we stop. You know, so I was reminded that they got to tell people that. But I could feel the energy kind of building in the airplane. I could feel it. And then as soon as we pulled up to the gate, you hear the belts undo, and you see the people stand up, and the energy in the plane got insane for a second. I felt it. I felt a surge of let's go, like a surge of people that just had to go somewhere. They just had to get somewhere. I was wondering, like, where do you guys got to go? This is fair. It's 2:00 on a Tuesday. Like, what is the deal here? And it began to get kind of violent in there, almost kind of like a violent atmosphere, or like an aggressive atmosphere of people like wanting it to go quickly, and an urgency. And I could feel the whole plane ramping up with this collective insanity. And I'm wondering, what is going on inside of them? What is going on inside of everybody? There is no order to it. You know, people are trying to push through. People are angry with each other because one guy's taking a little too many seconds to pull his thing down. And then there's one guy that's got, you know, a lot of things I've realized with travel is that people really want to save that $30. This is important. You know, check a bag is $30. So they're just going to do anything they can to save that $30, whether it means I'm going to bring on 4 bags and inconvenience everybody else, or whatever I'm going to do. But there's this collective insanity in that plane. And I think that it kind of reminded me of, like, where this all comes from. I don't think drug addiction is an individual insanity. I think it's a symptom of the collective insanity, of the collectiveness of our society saying, go, 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 go. You need to go. You need to go. You know, not enough. You got to hurry up, you know. And it was this, I get this real sense that sitting still is a problem for everyone. This real sense that we're just not there. We're not enough. And, you know, I got someone here in our program who's really, really struggling with this. And I've said it to everyone, you know, he's the most purest form of addiction that we've come across. Just a pure addict. So I have to look at what that means to me. And I want to look at what it means to be pure in this thing. You know, addiction might be like an internal sunburn. You know, imagine you see somebody with a sunburn and you can't touch them. And if you do touch them, they're always acting like you touched them too hard. And everything is like, you know, irritating them. And then they have to like lay right, and they have to not take the shower's got to be the right temperature. And that external sunburn is there. And I think addiction could be explained for some people like an internal sunburn. Everything out here, if it touches them wrong. It touches them in a way that makes them that's making them not comfortable. And you just see this disease, and you see this internal sunburn that's happening on people. And I think there's another thing. And the other thing is that they used to say, and they say in all these programs, we want to pray for the still suffering addict. And I thought about that a lot today. And I thought, what does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean somebody's still getting high? Because I don't think they're suffering. So I don't think the still suffering addict means it's somebody getting high. It means somebody that stopped getting high and doesn't do anything about it. That's the still suffering addict, somebody that's stopped getting high but hasn't woken up to the truth. So I go, okay, so now they don't have their drugs, so they're suffering. So, it's like having a sunburn inside your body but having no cream to put on it. What are you going to do with that? You have no ointment. You have nothing inside. So now you just sunburnt on the inside, but you got no solution. You got nothing to do with it. So it just sits there and hurts all the time. And I call that the still suffering addict. And we see him all the time in our program. And we see him waiting to get high. And the still suffering addict has some characteristics. And I see him all over. Some of the characteristics are the still suffering addict is, non-acceptance all the time. Just not wanting to go with the flow. Just this idea that nothing soothes them. This wanting an answer quickly. Wanting instant gratification. But this still suffering addict, what does that mean? It means you ain't done anything about it yet. It means you ain't seen it yet. It means you ain't looked at it yet. Looked at what? Now I'm going to talk about something that I don't know anything about. I never even knew this topic existed. I've been doing addiction for 11 years. And what I'm telling you tonight, I've never understood. I've never understood self-hatred. I've never known about it. I've never understood it. And I didn't even know. So maybe somebody can clue me in tonight, but I never understood. It took me until ninth grade. In ninth grade, I was 85 pounds. I was 4 foot or 5'2", 85 pounds. And I still had not figured out that I wasn't going to play professional football. My mind, the voice in my head, never told me that I couldn't succeed. It never told me that I wasn't good enough. In fact, it was the opposite. My mind told me that I was better than everyone. My mind told me that I could make it doing whatever. My mind told me I could be president. My mind told me I was good looking. My mind told me that I had a great personality. My mind told me that people wanted to be around me. My mind told me that I fit in. Now, I don't know about the other side of that. I don't know about the side of it where your mind says you don't fit in, where your mind says you're not good enough, where your mind says you ain't going to make it, where your mind says you are going to be a failure. I don't know about that side. You have to tell me about that. I do know now, and I'm starting to see it exists. But what I can also tell you is that you have to wake up to the facts. And the facts are that both the voices in our head are wrong. That both of them are wrong. That my mind that told me I could play professional football, I don't know if that's true or not. And your mind that tells you that you're not good enough, I don't know if that's true or not. So they're both this voice in our head. Now, so the problem that I see with the still suffering addict is they haven't figured out that their mind is not them. They have not figured out that they aren't their mind. They believe that they are their mind. Therefore, if you believe that you are your mind, you have to then believe that everything it says is true because it's you saying it. So you have to believe that. And the still suffering addict believes in their mind so much so that they will jump off a bridge to get out of their mind. Their mind tells them they're not good enough and to go kill themselves, and they listen to it and jump off a bridge and die. That's the insanity, and it's collective. We all have it. But the person who will no longer suffer, the answer, the way to not suffer, if you cannot suffer, we are going to suffer. But the way to get some relief is to come to the conclusion that you are not your mind. Now, if you can come to that conclusion, and let me help you a bit. One, I want you to stop forgetting things. Please raise your hand if you can stop forgetting things. So I want to just look at one little part of your mind that you think is you. And I want you to tell me how you control that part of your mind. So one, I want you to remember stuff you can't remember. I want you to start understanding stuff you can't understand. So when I say, do you understand this? And you don't understand it, do something about that. Fix it. And when you say, I forgot, why do you say that? Why do you say I forgot? Did you forget? How'd you do that? If anyone in this room can forget, tell me how you figured out how to forget. Now you say, I think. That's real smart. Do you? You don't think. You don't think. Thinking happens to you. Thinking is involuntary. You do not think. Thinking happens. You can't stop it. So we have to first get to a position where you can agree that you're not your mind, that your mind works without you. If you can come to some conclusion that your mind works without you, you can then come to a different conclusion that what your mind says is of its own volition, that it comes from a place that wasn't you, that you have no control over your thoughts, that your thoughts just think. And one of the thoughts that your thoughts think is you. Your thoughts think and make up you. Now, your thoughts will think and they will make you up. And they might make you up in a way that you don't like. And then you might do drugs to get away from that. So learning this one key point, waking up, is the only way to not suffer. We suffer from our thoughts. We suffer from our thoughts due to the fact that we think we are our thoughts and we believe them to be true. So because of that, there is only one answer to get out of that insanity, is to see that you are not the thing that thinks. It thinks. You know, the character art, it's like the smallest part of me. It's just one part of my brain's thoughts is me. There's other parts of it. You know, it does a lot of things. It remembers, it forgets, it computes, it analyzes, it plans. On the plane today, those people didn't even know that their mind had gotten to a place called wanting mind. And what their mind wanted was to get out of that airplane. And that was going to then, their mind convinced them that when they got off that plane, there was going to be relief, that life was going to be different right when they stepped off that gate. So their mind had convinced them of a sense of urgency. And because they don't observe their mind, they do what their mind says. And so you just saw them all there like robots. It was like cattle. I was sitting on the plane going, wow, look at them. They're insane. They cannot wait to get off this plane for no reason. There was literally no reason to get off the plane. Nobody was going anywhere. The bags. In fact, I sat there and waited purposely, just having kind of a moment. And I waited for them to all get off the plane. And they all got off. And then I got off. And when I walked down to the bag, my bag came off at the exact time I got to the baggage carousel. It was beautiful. It was like, I'm just flowing with life here. And grabbed off the thing. It was so pretty. I seen mine come down. I was like, no way. That thing is mine. And it was so cool. And all it was like, wow, I'm awake. I'm awake to the facts. I don't have to suffer from my mind. I don't have to suffer from it. It's not me. It has lots of crazy thoughts. But see, they really think, and the still suffering addict cannot be somebody that's out there getting high. They're not suffering at all. They're no longer suffering from their mind's thoughts. Their mind has blanked out. They have dulled it. They have got rid of it. The still suffering addict is one of you. It's somebody in this room that isn't doing this observational stuff, that isn't looking at their mind as an observer and saying, oh, I'm not it. I don't have to have its, I have its thoughts really taken into consideration, like appetite. Do you have one? Good. Turn it off. If people say, I have an appetite, no. It has you. It has you. It decides. It decides when you're hungry or not. You don't. And they say, I think. No, thinking happens and you just have those thoughts. And you say, I see, but you don't see. It's just happening. And you say, I hear, but you don't hear. It's just happening. So you have to really look and find it. So there's a position of non-suffering. There's a position to go to. But I never understood. So maybe you hear, or maybe there's people in this room, maybe like Parker, his brain is telling him that he's not good enough. Maybe his brain is telling him that he's not gonna, that he's just not enough. And that is driving him to a place where he's got to use drugs to get away from that voice in his head. But you can do the same thing with taking a breath. You can get away from the voice in your head by taking a breath too. It'll shut down. It'll go, and then you take a breath, and then you like listen for things, and you look at things, and you touch things, and it shuts off eventually. Say a prayer. It works. But you have to see that you're not your mind, so that you'll have the fight, the struggle to get outside of it without drugs.
Choose that.
Yeah, you can do it without drugs. Still suffering addict.
So that's how does that work if you're not thinking about that, then how can you choose to do that?
That's right. Now, Cam asked a great question. And that brings me to my next point. If you understand what I'm saying here and you feel that you're not your mind, then what will tell you to take a breath? See, what will tell you to take a breath? Well, it'll be your mind. And it'll be under none of your own volition. You know, this is where it gets tricky. And this is where compassion comes in. And this is where looking around and seeing everybody and seeing that maybe all of us aren't our minds. Maybe our minds are directing us. And maybe we can get rid of the arrogance a little bit. We can see that if you take a breath tomorrow, it'll be because you heard this tonight, not because of anything that you did. Mm-hmm. So then we can kind of look a little deeper and go, maybe our minds are just programmed, and maybe we're fortunate. We're fortunate when other answers come in. For me, it was like that. I was in a meeting, one of my first meetings, and some guy said the words, I use prayer as a substitute for drug use. And it just happened to be that I was desperate enough at the time that I didn't want to use drugs. So when my mind was telling me to use drugs, I prayed. Now, I wouldn't have had that answer if that man didn't give it to me. So I can't really take credit for it. And I can't even take credit for the fact that my mind remembered it the next day, because I don't remember and I don't forget. My mind does. And I don't like and I don't dislike. My mind does.
But by putting that information in your head.
We're fortunate when that information's there, right? We're fortunate if it uses it. That's why I sit here and tell people I'm not a big believer in changing ourselves. I'm not a big believer that somebody can tell you how to change and then you're going to do it tomorrow. I'm not a big believer that, it ain't like when somebody says, here's how you become a millionaire, here's how you stay sober, or here's how you have a beautiful home, or here's how you fulfill your goals to get this car, or here's how you do anything. It ain't like them telling you to get to Burien. Now, if somebody wanted to tell you how to get to Burien, they would just say, take this road, get on this road, and you would for sure get to Burien if you follow that way. But we all know on here, somebody can give you the exact steps to change your life or lose weight or make money. And you're not going to be able to do it. Not because you don't follow the steps, just because there's other things in your way. There's other thoughts that come in. So it might not be that you do anything wrong. It just doesn't work out for you. Notice the people that are telling us how to be a millionaire or telling us how to lose weight are both rich and skinny. Notice the people telling us how to stay sober are sober. It's not like a guy sitting there broke, fat, saying, I'll show you how to lose weight and be a millionaire. It's somebody that's already done it, then telling us what happened to them. So they're telling us what their mind did and what their mind went through. Now that should get you lost enough right there. I hope you are. I hope you're lost. I hope you're confused, because if you figured it out, you're really screwed. And where I've gotten to after all of this with addiction is it's awesome. In its purity, it's an entity. It's a spirit. It encompasses someone. It gives every person who's suffering from addiction, the still suffering addict that doesn't have drugs and is trying to stay sober, they all have the same beautiful characteristics. You want to hear some of them? They don't take responsibility. They blame others. They justify their behavior. They rationalize everything. They want instant gratification. They want to be validated for everything they do. They want to hear good job all day. They sit and do behaviors that aren't productive. These are all similar characteristics from the still suffering addict. When you're done suffering and you don't want to suffer from it, you're never going to use drugs again. Your mind will take these different answers that you've heard, is my proposal. The other thing with the still suffering addict is they have not gotten to a place where they observe their mind. They observe others' behavior. They monitor others' behavior. They blame others' behavior. They observe others' behavior, and they are fixated on other people's behavior. Which, can you imagine if you are fixated on other people's behavior, not looking at your own mind and not observing your own mind, but rather fixated on other people's bad behavior? Can you imagine how that ends? Can you imagine where relief would be found? And that's what we see from the still suffering addict. So, today it really came in deep that we need to look at this. That it isn't what we think it is. Trauma? Really? What about all the people that suffered from trauma that don't use drugs? What do they do? So for us as addicts to just say it's trauma, what do we say to all the people that don't use drugs and have had trauma? What do we say?
Kind of invalidates them a little bit.
Yeah, it really knocks what they've done and really gives us an excuse. Trauma. Really? Is there a better way to deal with it? See, I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm really clueless on what's true. I'm just saying, take a look at all this stuff. But one thing I can tell you is you're not your mind, and that's for sure. And your mind has thought you up. And your mind thinks about you a lot. But your mind doesn't think about you a lot in a way like critiquing you about what you did wrong today. Your mind thinks about you a lot in other ways. What's going to happen to me, my money, my problems, my reputation. And it's just the littlest part of what it does, but we've turned that into the biggest part. By the way, what I've mentioned on here tonight is a lot of talk about freedom, free choice. And I don't mind talking about the topic. I don't know about it. But I do understand that if I ask any of you out there to pick a movie and you say you have a free choice to pick whatever movie you can pick, that's the simplest of choices. Go ahead and pick a movie. I will tell you that you are limited to only the movies that your mind has in its range. And that doesn't sound like freedom to me. So go ahead. Tell me you have free choice and tell me how free you are. But you are absolutely limited to your mind, and you are not your mind. And your mind has been programmed from what it knows. Guess what? You cannot do anything that you don't know about. And anything that you do know about didn't come from you. It came from somewhere else. So really free, huh? So what I'm doing this for, and hopefully tonight, was to give the still suffering addict a break. I'm not going to pray for you, but I might tell you that you're not your mind, and I might tell you that the source of your suffering is for sure 100% your mind. And the only sane, logical thing that we can do to not suffer then is to find a way to get outside of our mind. But doing electronics or doing things like that aren't a way to get outside of your mind. They're just a way to delay it. When you come back, there's no improvement. It's worse. Now, actually praying, sitting still, taking breaths, looking at a tree, connecting with nature, being present, when you come back, it's not worse. You haven't put something off. You haven't delayed responsibility. You haven't avoided. But gaming, electronics, devices, these are delaying responsibilities, making it worse in the conditions of your mind when you come back to that mind. When you accomplish things, you come back and the mind feels better. So how do we do that? I'm not saying it's going to work. So we should be thoroughly confused at this point. And I hope that you ask questions. And after, my time in doing this, I don't have a grasp on it. I don't. But what I can say for sure is that I have not found after 11 years the control room of my mind. I haven't found where the steering wheel is. People always also ask me, they say, hey, you've quit drugs. It should be easy to apply that to food. You should just quit eating bad, just like you quit drugs. Let me tell you the fundamental flaw in that. I quit drugs because of severe consequences that were immediate, rapid, and very damaging. When I eat a bowl of ice cream, it doesn't get me kicked out of my apartment. It doesn't get me homeless when I eat a baked potato.
You don't get arrested.
I don't get arrested. Nothing happens. I drink a Coca-Cola. I feel a little guilt. Nothing happens. For me, I quit drugs because I kept losing all my shit. And people were very angry with me. Sometimes when I eat a bowl of ice cream, people are still even happy with me. They enjoy it with me. They want me to do it. So sometimes I go out to eat and people like it when I eat poor, and I don't mind. We do that. I was on my diet, doing good, 8 days in, and then they took me to a place called La Burrito last night. I guess that's what it's called.
LA burrito.
Oh.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
It's
I like
It's La Burrito. It's La Burrito. They were saying it to me. They were saying it to me. So then they had me. So I ordered 3 of them. They were only $3.50 a piece. They weren't the big, like, looked like a little baby burrito. It was like little burritos. I had 3 of them, and then they said, let's go get 3 more. So we had 3 more. And then, of course, they had those big, tall Coca-Colas in the bottle, in the glass bottle. And they popped the top for you. So I had to have one of those. And then afterwards, my diet was kind of damaged. So what do you do next? You go to the mini mart.
Is it a La Burrito company?
And you find the Oreos. And then you find, yeah. So I had a rough night. But I'm not homeless, and I still have all my money, and I didn't lose my business. And maybe I should. Maybe I'd stop eating that shit if that happened. You see? So anyways, the still suffering addict, I think that's all of you too. I think that's all of us. I think the still suffering addict was all those people on the plane with me today. What are they addicted to? Why do they got to go so fast? Where are they going? If you want to see the still suffering addict, go to the airport. Those are the most self-important people I've ever seen. They think their shit is so important because they're flying somewhere. They got to go, man.
Years of that too, like the
yes,
exclusive class that gets to get on first.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yes, yeah. The first class today, I flew on like a mini plane. I don't know even what it was called, but it was basically just a shitbox with wings, and I was really concerned we weren't going to make it. They actually didn't even have phone chargers on there or anything to watch, so you just had to sit there. But the first class was they only had 2 seats on one side and 1 seat on this side. There was no divider. There was just 2 seats and 1 seat, so they had a little more room. But then you could see them. They all got boxes of food up there, and they got different drinks than us, and that was the first class, and boy, they all were important people when I walked by them. I wasn't in there, so I had to go back to row 12, you know. but boy, they got important shit to do on those airplanes too, with the laptops and they're important people, and you know they
$30
6 inches in a pop.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think they're all suffering. I didn't see anybody sitting there in peace. And I didn't see anybody sitting in peace when the plane stopped. They had to go somewhere. And I think what the suffering is, this collective insanity, is that we've all convinced ourselves that wherever we're at, and that's stupid, it's true, but it's kind of true. We've convinced ourselves that wherever we're at is not where we need to be. And that's just a collective insane society. Wherever we're at is not where we need to be. And it literally doesn't matter where we're at. there's got to be somewhere else to go. And I was like, you know, and I'm there too. I'm not different. I wanted off the plane. I wanted to go. I probably had to pee.
Very chaotic.
I just had to point out to you, Art, that Sherry's on a plane right now. She's getting there, and Brian, and I think Guy's with him too, I think. Or maybe two of them, but I just had to point that out. They're on a plane getting ready to take off, listening in until they take off.
Yeah. You know, and then you're in the airport and the guy has the Bluetooth in his ear and you know what he does for business and he's announcing to the world how important his next business thing is. And he's just talking very loudly with the thing in his ear and you can't tell that he's talking to anybody, but he's there. And, you know, and I'm just looking around and I got my important shit to do and they got their important shit to do. And it's all insane. But it's collective. It's not any one of us. And I think drug addiction is just a symptom of that collection. I think it's just the outliers, just the people that are going, I've had enough. Just like I said last week, we get tired of the good people. And I think people get confused when I say the good people. I'm talking about the righteous. The people that are righteous and they're doing it morally correct and they're better than everyone. And you know, with addicts, I think maybe we get tired of those people. And then we also get tired of this game. Tired of this game that we're playing here. And sometimes you just tap out of the game and you go, I've had enough. I'm going to go get high for a year or two. And the game is go, go, go. It's not enough. Wolfie's tired. Okay. But I challenge anyone, you know, and that's the thing. I don't know if you lived on this planet long enough and you haven't figured out that you're not your mind yet. And you haven't figured out that it's not you thinking. You know, it's not you thinking, just like it's not you pumping blood, just like it's not you pumping air. There's lungs pumping air. You know, when we say self-hate, you know, I just think it's a voice that says you're not good enough. And I think self-hate is also your body. People identify as their body too, and that becomes a problem. If you start believing that you're your body and then your body doesn't seem to be perfect, then you got to suffer from that. And I think that's a problem for a lot of people too. But you never see anyone like hate their fingernails, you know, and say, I hate my fingernails so much I'm going to get high. Because nobody believes that they are their fingernails. You know, nobody identifies as their fingernails. Nobody says, hey, my fingernails suck. I'm going to go get loaded over it. But people will say my body sucks. I'm going to go get loaded over it. And they will say, my mind sucks, I'm going to get loaded over it. Why don't you get loaded over your arm? Your arm's nasty. You got shitty little arms. Why don't you get loaded? You're a dumb shit. I've never seen somebody getting high over big feet. Why are you getting high? I got these big ass sleds. Well, yeah, because you're not going to, you know. You know? Oh, Hannah, you've gotten high from you.
Me.
Yeah. Man, see a guy getting high over his penis. Maybe he's not big enough. Maybe that. Oh, yeah. That's why you get high, Andy. How do you get out of that one? Oh, man. I see some guys put their head down in the room right now. What's going on, guys? Sean? Sean's like, oh no. I'll pull my pants down right now. Yeah. Oh. But I think, you know, if you really look at it, drug use is a perfectly logical answer. It might be the only one. When you really looked at the collective insanity of what's going on, go. Where are we going? That is so insane. I'm part of it. We're all part of it. How do you not be part of it? Now, if you aren't going today, what did you do? Feel guilty? Yeah, they teach us to. You didn't go enough today. You got to go. Feel guilty. Okay. Still suffering addict. Figure it out. You're not your mind. What are you going to do? You're trapped in there with it, but you're not it. How do you get away from it? Do something. You know, when you're helping somebody else, you don't actually think about yourself. You know, when you're cutting a carrot, you think about cutting a carrot. You do something. You make a dinner. You work. Think about other people. That's not what I see from the still suffering addict. They think about themselves more. They do behaviors that just placate them like a pacifier. They stay pacified. They stay underneath their mind's frequency rather than above it. When we're saying take a breath, pray, we're saying get above it, not below it. When you're watching TV, you get below it, like a lower frequency than your mind, just a dullness. This is different. This is getting above it. This is taking a breath and saying, wow, I'm bigger than this. Me is the smallest part of me. Art is the smallest part of art. My money, my problems, my house, my circumstances, that's the smallest part of who I am. And that part's going to die for sure. And that part nobody's going to remember. But we think about that part the most, like everybody's going to remember that. Everybody's going to remember what kind of car you drove in 2021. Insanity collective, not individual. The second step of the program says we came to believe a power greater than ourselves would restore us to sanity. That's everyone. It's all of us. Okay, Edge, I'm done.
All right, let's open it up. So to get in line and let me know you want to say something and get unmuted, just do the raise your hand feature on your device. I'll raise my hand here. You can kind of see. So on your device, there is a feature. And if you can't figure out your device and how to do that, it's okay. You can unmute yourself. You can wave your arms. And as long as your video's on, I can put you on spotlight and put you in line. So who's first? Any comments, any questions, anybody struggling out there that needs a coaching moment? This is your opportunity. We have a full half an hour here. So this is, so take advantage of it. This is the opportunity to get on the court and put anything out there that you need to say or questions that you have, please. Who's first? Who did I see out there that we hadn't seen in a while? Oh, I know, Joanne Costello. John and Joanne are on tonight, and it's so good to say, hey, you guys, I can see your ceiling. Hi, Joanne. Can we say hi? Let's say hi, Joanne. It's just been way too long. We got to see your, yeah, there you are.
Hi.
Hi, Joanne. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you. It has been so long.
It has, yep. It's been too long.
Is John there as well?
Yes.
Hey, John.
Hi, Angie.
Oh, hey, you guys look great.
Thank
Man,
you.
boy, do I miss everybody. I've seen you on here and I see your ceiling. I just haven't seen your face in ages.
Oh, well, we were eating dinner. So I thought, well, rather than have you watch me eat, you could just look at the ceiling.
Oh man, so good to see you. Can't wait till we can get back in person and see you guys.
Yes.
Awesome. Right on. All right. Who else is out there? All right. Who's got some questions, comments? We'll wait patiently. There we go. Angela. Let's get you unmuted. Angela from West Virginia and Angela Badaluco. My favorite last name to say.
I just agree with you on that, Art, to the feeling guilty because you never sit still and there's always something to do, and trying to work on correcting that. Any suggestions?
I don't know. I think that's the collective self, that we have this voice that tells us that we're never going to make it and there's never enough. I mean, I just imagine like the insanity of a human being having like $1 billion and still worrying they were going to go broke. or even $1 million, still the sense of urgency that that's not enough. And like, what is enough? And I don't know, there is this, I just can't seem to get to a place where I think I'm going to make it, and I don't know. I mean, and I think that's collective. I think it's insane. And that's what we're up against. Like, that's what the problem of recovery is. And I think it's recovery for all of us. We're recovering from this like go thing in our head. And then we want to play the game too. So it's confusing. Like, what do you do? Do you get stuff, or do you chill, or what do you do? And how do you find a happy medium,
Yeah.
How do you, and everyone can just say, oh, just relax and enjoy the ride. Anyone can say that, just like anyone can tell a football team to score more points. But that's not always possible. There's just stuff. So, I don't know. I struggle both ways. I don't know what this is. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Some days I lay around and I'm okay with it. And then some days the guilt. And I think my father's voice comes in and says, you're not going to make it. Got to save more money. Can't sit around. Can't waste your life. There's also TikTok. Jesus. That's you watch this TikTok and they make you feel guilty for watching TikTok. You're watching the TikTok, but the guy's telling you to get out and stop being a piece of shit. Well, I'm busy watching your TikTok. I mean, what do you want me to do, buddy? You want me to watch your TikTok, or you want me to stop being a piece of shit? I mean, these guys are basing everything they do on millions of people sitting there watching their videos. And then they tell you to get off your ass and stop watching videos. It's really condescending. I don't know what to do. Basically, everyone on TikTok saying stop watching TikTok.
Yeah. I just know I struggle with just sitting down and relaxing and just saying I'm just going to live for this moment. I'm always wanting to get something done. There's always something to get done.
Yes. It's insane. That's what we're up against. Yeah.
Till I go on vacation. Once I go on vacation, that's all bets off.
Yeah, well, I suffer too. I bet when you go on vacation, you say, I'm going to be happy when I get done with this plane ride. Then you get done with the plane. You say, I'll just be happy when I get to the hotel. And then you get to the hotel room and you probably say, I'll just be happy when I get my bag unpacked. And then you probably get your bag unpacked. And then you go, I'll be happy when I get down and get some food because I'm starving. Then you get some food. And then you say, I'll be happy just when I get a nap. And vacation's like that too. Believe me. I always got something that's ruining my vacation too.
Well, and then you start counting down and saying, oh, I only have this much more time. I only have, and then I'm going to have to go back to work. And you start thinking that. So it really ruins it.
Yeah. Well, then you got to return the car. This car return thing's tough, So.
Yeah.
Angie found me Angie found me the greatest car rental place ever, though. It's called Green Motion, if you can imagine. So I don't even know what they meant. Something about all the cars being electric or green or whatever it is, but they weren't. It was gas. So it's Green Motion. In my car, you had to fill it with gas. It was a Nissan, and then it's just one dude that works there. It was just one guy, and he both does the van and the desk. Oh, so he's got to close the shop and take me over to the airport. So
I was worried that it was going to be one of those little tiny boxes.
It was.
It was. Oh, shoot. Whoopsies. There we go. Well,
No, it didn't look that nice. It did not look that nice. Yeah.
That is you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Top speed.
We'll try to level up the next one.
Top speed was 58 miles an hour on the car I had.
Oh
no. I floored it and we were hit 58. I couldn't even in LA, if you can only do 58, you're in trouble. They'll just run you right off the road down there. They don't give a shit.
Oh man.
You were saying earlier about being fortunate enough to pick up the information that's being provided
Yeah.
at times. But now, can somebody be somebody that's in that state of mind where they're not good enough, or that self-hate, and they surround themselves with, say, better people, or put themselves in a better environment? Now, are they able to possibly absorb that? So, trying to get at, like, almost, if they put themselves in a better environment, I guess it's almost like maybe they're fortunate enough to pick up those better vibes or those better connections with people.
Yeah.
I feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
But it's hard to say that because, I mean, like, for here, for instance, this is an awesome environment. And we surround ourselves with these kind of people that are in this environment, all the time. And it feels like stuff is still almost the same. So
Yeah.
It's like,
I love the question. Cam is asking about, what does your environment do to that self-hate? Does it help if you're around different people? And I think, of course, if you're probably around encouraging people, but I don't know where authentic, encouraging people really ever exist. I mean, where that kind of natural environment exists, because naturally, as human beings, we get in environments and we're competitive and we point out each other's flaws and we talk about each other and we rib a little and we knock each other and say, you're stupid at that and you're not good at that. And so, and then are we fortunate enough just to wake up to the facts though and go, hey, maybe my mind isn't the truth. That's, I think, the only true relief is if you can come to some place where you can go, my mind's thoughts aren't mine. And let me say that about all of them so that I don't distinguish between the good voice in my head and the bad voice in my head. It's just a voice in my head. See, that's where the relief would come in. It's just a voice in my head. Just like, if the voice in your head, if somebody else's voice was saying the same things, you would just tune it out. You know what I mean? You just tune it out. But it's when our voice in our head picks it up. It's just, it's just nonsense. And I say that the only true recovery is this waking up to this, is taking this observer position and going, it's just my mind. That's what it does. It's not what I think. It's not what I think about all the time. It's what my mind thinks about all the time. And what do I do with that? So
going back to the basics.
Back to clearing it out.
And giving yourself that separation from self. Separation from self.
Absolutely right. Prayer, breath, meditation. Take a break from your mind.
So I'm doing this class and I spoke with my future boss, and I was trying to get pointers on how to get through this class, and he said, well, it just depends on your ability to pick things up, like how quickly, how well you comprehend things and retain it. So then, after that, I just went downhill because I'm worried and my mind is clouded as I'm doing it with maybe I just have below average retention level, and it's going to take me way longer than expected. And so and so then I found myself having an harder time after I talked to him, because I'm just sitting there trying to gauge if my retention level's up to par or not. And so, and then, once I kind of clear, I don't know, I didn't purposely do it, but there was a clearing. And then all of a sudden, it was much better. I kind of forgot about that maybe, and then all of a sudden I was retaining it much better. But the whole time I was worried about it and really trying to push through and be a good retainer, then I couldn't. And so it's the more this stimulus comes in and tells us, maybe the bar to measure ourselves at, now we get worried about that, and then it clouds us from even.
Well, your mind is conditioned. Your mind is conditioned by the collective insanity. Mm-hmm. So now your mind is measuring itself against other people's fictional minds, right, and their fictional ability to comprehend. Mm-hmm. And I just want you to see something as simple as that would help you relax. If you could just see that your understanding of things is under none of your own volition. If you read a book and understand it, you did nothing. If you read a book and don't understand it, you did nothing. Neither one of those is you. Your mind's understanding, you have no control over your mind's understanding. It either does or it doesn't. And don't take credit for it either way. You're not a genius because it understands, and you're not stupid because it doesn't.
And just to simplify what you did, it's like you read a book, you didn't understand it, you read a book.
That's right.
That's all you did. Like
Well, you
whether or
can
not you retain that info from your boss, that's
Yeah. Okay.
You
Now,
do
Sharpen it through repetition. So if you did something over and over again, like it becomes more familiar, I think you can make your mind stronger in your ability to retain information.
is that you making your mind stronger or your mind making your mind stronger?
Take action. and do
No,
it.
but let me say this. Okay, good. Do it. Make your mind stronger, Andy. Why haven't you done that yet? That would be that's insane. That's
really
insane. I mean, if somebody could teach me how to make my mind stronger, that's awesome. Show me how. Because it just like I was driving one day and there was a song that came on the radio.
Yeah.
And the song that came on the radio and it reminded me of my father. And as that song came on, the thought came in my head, I should think about my father more. Okay? So the song came, I thought about my father, and then my mind said, I should think about my father more. Now, the question is, how do I do that? Now, would the next time I think about my father come from me or my mind? So now let's say tomorrow I don't think about my father. What did I do to not think about my father? Let's say tomorrow I do think about my father. What did I do to think about my father? You see, and if I did something to think about my father, that would come from a thought that was thinking about my father.
Well, there was influence from a song or whatever you
Right. There was none of my own volition. So that's kind of my whole thing here is it makes us feel collectively insane because there are people with very sharp minds that are very disciplined that now suggest that you need to have a sharper mind and more discipline. And so you will sit here going crazy trying to discipline something that you're not. And maybe that's just not for you. I don't know. Maybe it's just your experience is this way and his is this way. Maybe that's what's happening to him. Maybe his mind was programmed and conditioned. Now, I don't know. Now, this conversation is very dicey, so I don't mean to upset anyone. If you want to argue, I'm not here. I don't care. I will argue. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, look at it. I'm saying, take a look. Maybe it's not what you think it is. Maybe it's not what we think it is.
So when we pick up a book and we read a book to try to strengthen our minds.
Right.
Yeah.
What told you to pick up the book?
You.
The book either had to be there.
Did your
someone
mind
had
tell
to
you to pick up the
recommend
book?
It had to be.
Now, what if your mind told you that?
I mean,
what if your mind didn't tell you?
Source was like, hey, if you pick up this book,
Okay.
and read this book, you know what I mean?
That's right.
You'll be able to maybe.
Can you guys hear all these questions? Because they're asking great questions.
Yes.
Okay, good. We're having a great conversation here. Yeah.
So right, I mean, there's multiple times where you were in this group, like
So let me ask you
get off
this.
your phone, read a book,
Okay.
Yeah.
Now.
and
Now.
better yourself,
So
right?
the book
Okay.
I read had to come from the list on Audible, or else I never would have read those books. And so then it just got me
Okay.
thinking that's the only reason I read those books.
No, I know you're not. This is great. This is an example. So if you look now, first of all, what did you do when I said read a book? Is that any of you saying read a book? Or is that me saying read a book? So you didn't do anything there. Now, let's say that tomorrow you read the book. What did you do? And your mind, you woke up, Art said read a book. Next day you woke up, couldn't not read the book. Your mind was like, you're going to read the book. Art said read the book, read the book. What did you do? No, your mind told you to read the book. So now the book is being read, correct? Now let's say that your mind doesn't say that. Did you do anything different? Your mind, the next day your mind goes, fuck Art. He don't know shit. I got to go make money. Where's you there? Find yourself in that. You see? And so now you just kind of see that you're just you're on that ride. You're riding along there.
So it's like you're saying, your mind is fortunate
When it does, read the book.
It does decide
Because it seems to have better outcomes from reading a book than watching TikTok. It seems to enriched. So, but then again, if somebody can tell you, somebody's going to get on TikTok and they're going to tell you, read books, read books, read books. Well, you're going to watch TikTok. Why? See, that's the dilemma. And the thing is that's what we're all trying to do here. We're all trying to improve, and we're all trying to find the steering wheel of our mind. And I think what I'm suggesting tonight is maybe there is no steering wheel, and maybe improvement is knowing that. Maybe improvement, just the relaxing of your enjoyed experience. Maybe improvement is actually understanding that you're not the author of thought and that what you do comes from thought. And if you can just really look, maybe it'll relax you. I know Shaquille O'Neal, he gets up on there after he dunks a basketball and he really raises his arms in the air and he really thinks he's done something. But let's see what Shaquille O'Neal, did he make himself 7'4"?
No.
Did he make himself 380 pounds?
No.
Would he be able to dunk a basketball if he was 5'2" and 280? No. So he was given this God gift of a perfect body to dunk a basketball. He was given a mind that actually cared about basketball. And then actually his mind followed through with that. And then he takes credit for all of it and tells us that we can play basketball too if we just were like him.
Or at least he's higher.
I don't think I could be Kevin Hart, no matter how hard. Now this isn't an excuse to not do anything, by the way.
Right. That's the important clarification, because I think that's where the resistance comes from. I think people are like, well, what does he mean? I shouldn't read and, build my mind. He's not saying that.
I'm just talking. And saying maybe it ain't what you think it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know what it is.
The reading of the book is what gives us more options that our mind can come up with. It's just he's speaking of the origination of the idea to read the book.
Or anything. I mean, come on.
Probably comprehend it better too.
Well, I mean, listen. I mean, yeah, all of it. But
if it was your choice, you weren't just doing it. If you did it because you wanted to do it, you'd get so much more out of it.
yeah, but it would never be your choice. It would be your mind. I mean, if you can separate that, because if you call your mind you and you say you're making, it's just like you tell me what kind of ice cream you like.
Yeah.
No, tell me.
Chocolate.
Okay, and why don't you like vanilla? No, don't tell me, but you don't know is the truth.
Yeah, right.
You have no clue why your mind likes chocolate and not vanilla.
Yeah.
You have no clue. So how could you be your mind? Your mind likes chocolate. It prefers chocolate.
Language that is that makes it okay.
I would say just leaving it at the point where you can identify that you're not your mind.
Yeah.
If you can just leave it there, if you can just say it thinks.
All right.
Yeah, you're on a ride. You're with it, and that's the mind you have. And then if it's the mind that you have to deal with that, and it might become useful. And so what I'm trying to do is give you use.
For suffering.
Yeah, it might become useful to the suffering, because there's people tonight that are going to sit and suffer because they went to school today and they didn't understand what the teacher had to offer. And then there's somebody that's going to raise their hand and act like a champion because they did understand what the teacher had to offer. But I say neither one of those two people did anything different. I say the kids at high school today that is absolutely struggling and is getting poor grades and does not understand as he sits there and does not get it. I can sit in a chemistry class for 10 hours and not understand chemistry. I don't understand it. No matter how many times you tell it to me, no matter what you say, I do not understand. My mind does not understand chemistry. Now, some kid that understands chemistry is actually going to get it fixed up that they're better than me. And I might get it fixed up that I'm worse than them. Now, what did either of us do? You see, nothing. Some people can sit down at a piano and just play. Why? Some people can look at an engine and fix it. I can't. But if you give me a family, I can see what's going on. But I can look at that engine for days and days and never figure it out. And so we have to start taking the you out of it, the I out of it. And if you can take the I out of it, if you can take the I out of I think and say thinking is, well, then you don't have to worry about it so much. Just a different position. And then we don't have to have like Like I can't tell you guys all. I can just go, why don't you all stay sober like I did? Come on.
We did.
Yeah, I got 11 years. Why don't you choose recovery and stay sober like I do? Like I'm making a choice. And like I choose better than you. Or I can say, guys, I don't know. It just happens to be that I'm very fortunate in my life because it seems to be easier without having to do drugs. And no longer does my mind fixate on drugs. I got very fortunate that my mind doesn't fixate on drugs because I had a father and I had consequences that made it impossible for me to keep going. And I can't tell you on the day that I quit drugs, the reason I quit drugs, other than I didn't see the option anymore of doing drugs. And if any of you are sitting out here and you still see the option of doing drugs, I will say that you probably might do drugs. And that doesn't make you any different than me. It just makes your path different than mine. That's it. So people that say they chose recovery or they choose this or they chose that, I just say, take a look. Maybe not. Maybe not. Why would anybody choose to be overweight? Why would anybody choose to ruin their life with drugs? Why would anybody choose suffering? We do. Why would people choose to keep smoking for 50 years and die of that? That is a dumbass choice. Why do people choose to have very little money and live paycheck to paycheck? That's a stupid choice. That is stupid. If you got free choice, choose to be a millionaire. Don't be a dumb shit. Dumb shits would have free will and choose to be in poverty. That is the dumbest shit I ever heard. So if you got all this freedom and you make all these choices, go ahead. Just choose to be a millionaire. Do not tell me that you've chosen to be broke. That is some dumb ass shit. I mean, seriously. So really look, and then maybe you can find it. Maybe you can find and understand why people do drugs. Maybe you can understand why people hurt themselves, and maybe you can understand all of it. I get it. I'm very fortunate. Sometimes. Maybe I'm not. Maybe it doesn't matter. I need some controversy. I don't know.
Who's got something? Okay, Kathy, let's go. Let's get you unmuted. There you go. Hey, Kathy.
Hey. So I just had a question, Art, about, are there some good ways to help increase your awareness of your thinking? Like when you're stuck in a negative thought loop, basically, just like the young lady there was explaining how she was in this loop of negativeness. And are there things you can do to help increase your awareness of your thinking about things so you can address those things quicker? Or does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I can tell you there was a very fortunate time in my life where I read Eckhart Tolle. And when I read Eckhart and he said that you're not your mind, that you're an observer of the mind, and there was this pathway that developed. And fortunately, I was able to get some relief through that pathway, which was like when I was having a difficult time, I would take a huge breath and get up above my mind and kind of look at it and not suffer inside of there. And I did that because my mind learned to do that. And I might tell you the answer today and you might do it or you might not. And I don't want to get all weird, but there will be people that tell you you can do anything with your mind. But those will be people that have done things with their mind. Now, nobody that hasn't done things with their mind will tell you that you could do things with their mind. So they've already done it, is what I'm saying. Their mind did it, and then they're trying to tell you how to do it. Now, I don't know. I'm just saying breath, prayer, meditation seems to do something to increase awareness, right? And when I saw it, I took a lot of breath. I used my senses a lot.
Okay.
Now that's what I did. I used my senses a lot. I used all five. I would listen intently to things, which would get me outside of my mind. I would touch things. I would feel things. I would smell things. I would look at things. I would taste things, whatever it did. We used to do mindful eating down at Aloe. We would give everyone a plate of fruit. And we'd say, actually focus on eating the fruit and actually like feel what your tongue does. what people aren't even mindful of, and I wasn't mindful of, is how active the tongue is when we're eating. Like you can't even, it's just crazy what it's doing inside your mouth when you try to eat. Nobody ever told me that. I never knew what my tongue was doing. I never paid attention to my tongue. I never even knew it existed all day. So things like that, I mean, that's it. Mindfulness, meditation. Yeah.
I got something to add to this. When I'm having a bad time, I need to, sort of step outside my mind and look at it from a bird's eye perspective, and not be the one who is suffering, but observe someone who's suffering and say, what would I do if I was them?
Yeah.
But them is
So that's good.
The way I practiced doing that more often is to actually step outside yourself when things are going good as well.
Yeah.
Not just when things are going bad. And doing it when it's good is a lot easier.
Stepping outside when it's good.
To do it purposefully.
This is an experience of joy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then when bad things start to happen down the road, inevitably, everyone goes through some sort of shit. And then it'll just happen automatically.
Mm-hmm. That's
you've
good.
been doing it.
That's good.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kathy.
But the
we can definitely hear the vaping too.
Yeah, they won't. Their minds are programmed to vape. Yeah, yeah, not their fault. Yeah, it won't work for the judge.
They didn't do anything.
This conversation doesn't work on the judge. We've tested it. Yeah, judge, I have no free will. He increases the sentence every time.
Yeah, I used to hate when you would do the things just occur to people.
Yeah.
And then the next day, like the room is trashed and there's like ants everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're like, it just occurred to me, man.
Well,
you're like, oh.
Listen, I do this talk. I do this talk because I see people suffering, and I see people suffering from the fact of their poor choices, and I see them suffering from the fact that they can't choose a better way, and I see them suffering from all of it. And the truth is, for me, I can give myself a break, and like for instance. And this is a quick story to illustrate what I'm saying. So I'm sitting, and this illustrates someone's anger and our hatred towards people and everything. And see how stupid it is. I was at my house, and I'm getting ready, and I have 10 minutes to get ready to be over to Solution Group. And it was when it was going live, and it starts at 7:00. And so it's 6:50, and I have to find my shoes. And it turns out my shoes were in a box that was holding my TV at the end of my chair. And my TV was at the end of my chair because that was my poker TV. And then my big TV was on the wall, and I like to have that TV there. So what I did was I took that TV and I took it off the box and I put it on the chair. And then I opened the box and I grabbed my shoes out and I put my shoes on and I left. Okay? And I came back to a very angry woman. And she was very angry at me because I didn't put the TV back on the box. And because I didn't put the TV back on the box, our cat knocked over the TV and ruined the front of the TV, smashed it. So she yelled at me. Now, the truth is, it never occurred to me. It did not occur to me to put the TV back on the box. Now, what do I do about that? What do I do about the fact that my brain never told me to put that TV back there? Now she's belittling me, yelling at me, and she's angry with me because I didn't put the TV back there. This is what we do to people. We are limited as human beings to doing what occurs to us. We cannot do what doesn't occur to us. So if you go to the store and you walk in and it doesn't occur to a man to open the door for you, he just walks through it. And you spend your day resentful of that man because he didn't open the door for you or woman. And you go, what a prick. Maybe it didn't occur to him. Even a thought came into his mind. If you don't have the thought to do something, you cannot do it. And we treat people that way. Like a kid. Like anyone saying, why didn't you do that? Like a kicker going out to kick the game-winning kick, and he misses, and we get mad at him. Do you think he wanted to miss? And we're ready as a society to hang this man. Do you think any baseball player ever wanted to go up to the plate and strike out? So the baseball player walks up to the plate, he takes a swing, it results in a strikeout. Another baseball player comes up, takes a swing, it results in a home run. We cheer for the guy that did the home run. We boo the guy that struck out, but they did the same thing. They swung when it occurred to them to swing.
So I see this all the time. Like, I'll just say the grocery store, right? People will be walking out the door and they'll drop their receipt. And you see the people that look at the receipt, and it like has to occur to them that like I should pick that up, but then they don't. Then there's the people that look at the receipt that they dropped and they pick it up.
Okay.
So like, what? I'm not saying it did, but what if it did occur to you that I should put that TV back on the box, but then you're like, fucking, I'm in a hurry.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I was going to say. If you weren't rushing, you probably would have put the TV back where you're supposed to go.
Yeah, but you can keep going backwards. So now it didn't, after it occurred to me to put the TV back, did it occur to me to put the TV back?
Well, you were in a hurry, so that's why you didn't put it
So
back.
something else occurred to me.
Yeah, you can always like go back and go like, oh, if I wasn't this, but it doesn't matter.
But let's say the thought showed up. The thought showed up, put the TV back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was the final thought. Would I have put the TV back?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So what must have happened if I didn't put the TV back? A new thought came. A new thought came.
I got to get to group.
I got to get to group. So even that, is that me or is that a new thought? You see what I'm saying? So now I'm just throwing it out there. Don't, I'm just putting a message out. So listen, I don't have the answers. I'm just asking you, like I said, I've become more of a philosophical teacher than I am a factual one. I don't absolutely know. So, I can just tell you one thing in my experience, people. For 11 years, I've been looking to the control room of my thoughts, because if I could find the control room, I could improve rapidly. I would just go down into the control room of my mind, and I would tell my mind to stop thinking about Oreos. Stop thinking about anything that it thinks about that I don't like. Start focusing on this, and I could solve all my problems. I just can't find that room. And thoughts come, like a thought will come like Sunday night, do your diet. This is your diet. You're going to do your diet. Get back on your diet. And I will. And I'm convinced that I'm going to stay on that diet. And then Friday happens and I'm with my friends and we're at the burrito place and another thought comes. The thought comes, well, listen, there's no diet. Like whatever you call it, choice here. There's no diet choice on the menu. Go ahead. And then I do it.
Well, and being here for us, like as addicts, like it's a kind of a training program to get our mind to start telling us like the basic things to do in life. Because like before, when I'm outside of here, say I was trying to get sober at my parents' house or something, it would never occur to me to like get up at a certain time, make my bed, do these certain things. And they wouldn't really enforce it. They kind of, be like, oh, at least she's clean. And then you come here and now there's like something at stake. Like if you don't get out of bed in time, now like there's a consequence. If you don't make your bed, there's consequences. So then it starts to train you because there's a consequence or there's stimuli to like make you want to, because you're comparing yourself to other people. So it's either stimuli or consequence.
If I tell people that they're programmed, they don't want to buy that. But if I tell them that I run a program, I wonder what people think I do here. You want your kid to come to a program, but your kid's not programmed. I get it. So this is a program, and what we do is we program people, but nobody likes that. Because everybody wants to stay on the board of arrogance, and everyone wants to stay on the board of, everyone wants to be on the side of you're doing it. Nobody wants to be on the collective saneness of a different way of life. That's not good enough. So I did that. I'm doing that. I take the credit. I need the credit. That's the thing, because we need validation. But the deal is we all know. Go ahead and tell your kid, go ahead. If you got a kid and you don't think that we program people's minds, then just don't tell him to brush his teeth every night. And we'll see if he brushes his teeth every night. Just let your 5-year-old kid do whatever the hell he wants. You just let him do what he wants. Let him go to bed when he wants. Let him do anything. So we program little minds. We know we're doing it. Why? Because we are our programming. We're downloads. We have little computers in our heads, I guess. I don't know. And I'm just the thing looking at the screen of my mind. I don't even know where it generates its ideas from. People go, I have an idea. How'd you do that? Why didn't you have ideas every day? Why did you wait till today? It's been 10 years since you had a good idea. And then they go, I got a good idea. Well, what'd you do yesterday? Why didn't you generate good ideas, dipshit? No, our mind might have an idea, and that would be very fortunate, but it might not. But what would you do to cause a good idea? And what would you do to cause a bad idea? And what do you do to cause yourself to remember? By the way, I never thought about my father more. I wish I did. I can't find the control room. I want to think about my dad every day. Okay, go. What am I going to do? I think about my dad when my mind thinks about my dad. And that happens when I hear a specific song or I see something or my brain reminds itself. I don't know. But if I had my choice, I would have my brain think about my father for a couple hours a day because I love that man. I don't know, guys. I would love and encourage people to have more of a philosophical talk with me, but I'm not here with the answers, I swear. We're all just trying to make it. You know, maybe I really love that song tonight. I hope everyone appreciated that song. It was great, Nico. And that's part of the collective sanity because he gives us that song and we all feel it. Mm-hmm. And there's love in here and we felt that. And that was pretty cool. I hope you all felt what we were feeling here because it was a great song.
I want to add something.
Yeah.
Your dad.
Yeah.
I was friends with your dad more than I was friends with you.
For
a long time.
Yes.
Me and Art's dad were buddy.
Yeah.
In fact, after Art's dad died, I got so much shit out of that fucking garage.
You got more than I got.
I just took so much. He gave me so much of his shit, and I used that weird shit, all that shit, because he did the same shit I do, which is like tinker and make creations. And I just wanted your dad would be so proud of you because I remember when your dad used to talk shit about you.
Yeah.
And that little fucking son of a bitch. And that was
he wasn't very happy with me.
No. And that was about the same time as like when I was buying drugs from you here and then. And like it was fuck up central back then. But like it's come a long way. And the environment is where I was going with that. The environment here is a positive place, even though we've all fucked up. We're not fucked up.
No.
It's okay to be with that skin.
Yeah.
And I hope that helps you think of your dad more. Yeah. I think about your dad all the time.
You help me think of it more because I see you and I'm reminded. I'm reminded of your guys' relationship and everything. But
I had this hot girlfriend and she used to wash her car out in the driveway. And his dad and the old horny guy from down the street would both be there on their scooters talking to her when I got home every day. All the time. Just like watching that ass.
That was my dad.
So I roll up like,
yeah.
Old guys.
Yeah. They both rode scooters. It was like a little bike gang around there. Yeah. And my dad actually he had a scooter and then he'd have to ride up to the store. He had emphysema. So he was always worried that somebody would try to rob him or whatever when he was going to the store or whatever, take his wallet or something. So then my dad rode around on a scooter with a pistol. He had like a 357 or something, or and he would just remember.
The first time I ever went anywhere with your dad was to the dump, and he was like, "Look, Jason, if I pass out just get my air. And I was like, what?
Yeah. He had oxygen. He had to take a full tank of oxygen. He would try to do everything.
Yeah, it never slowed him down.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah. All right, we ready, guys?
Yeah.
Well, listen, I just did this tonight to make you think. I've been thinking a lot lately, and I'm not thinking about really anything other than getting me to a place where I just observe and really learning through that observation, nothing, really kind of getting to no conclusions and just seeing the collective insanity. And I will tell you that there is a deep, deep collective insanity that we're all part of. And I don't believe that drug addiction is anything different than anything else. And I think drug addiction is actually beautiful. And I'm sorry for people that don't like me to say that, but I think there's such a purity to it. And there's such a beauty to it. There's such a beauty to the fact that someone would want to escape this insanity. And I think that and that's true. I think it's a perfectly logical direction to go when you see the collective insanity. And I think drug addicts are just people who have seen the collective. Maybe as a drug addict, you can't articulate it. Maybe you can't articulate your vision or whatever you're saying, but maybe you just don't want to be part of the game sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying there's a different way. I'm saying that maybe this will come in, and maybe you learn to take a breath. Maybe you learn to pray. Maybe you learn to just sit still and observe. Maybe when you see the collective insanity like I did on the airplane today, you can sit there and smile rather than being angry with people, rather than pushing your way through the plane and trying to struggle to get out of there. Maybe you just sit and enjoy a moment and look. And I felt it. I felt the plane's energy ramp up. I felt people's discontent for being on the plane. They couldn't if you would have told those people that they had to sit back down, there would have been a riot. They wanted off. They needed to go somewhere. And I just think that that's the collective insanity of everything that we're dealing with, this go thing. And I see drug addiction as just a symptom of our societies of that. Maybe if we had a society that taught us to sit by the fire when we're kids, taught us just to cook a meal. But instead, we have people telling us we're not enough, people telling us to hurry up, people telling us to be efficient, people telling us, and that voice starts to develop in people's heads that they aren't good enough, that they should hate themselves, that whatever their circumstances are currently at, they want it to be better than they currently are. And that must be miserable. I've never really had to deal with that. So I really wanted to relate to people that do deal with that. And so I don't know. I'm not here. Like, I know we call it solution group, and maybe the solution is just to observe. Maybe the solution is to slow down. Maybe it's like, hey, take a look. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. So I spend my weeks kind of looking at things and maybe finding a different perspective. And maybe if you can see that your brain is not you, that your mind is not you, that's not you, that you're just this spirit in here. And you kind of float around. If you want to be your toes, go be your toes. You won't suffer from that. Feel your toe right now. How come you haven't felt your toe all day? Why is this the first time? Because right now I'm telling you to identify with your toe. So if you move your toe and you feel your toe, you're now identifying with your toe. And that's why you feel your toe. But you haven't felt your toes all day. And so if you identify with your mind, you will feel like your mind and you will believe it and you will get stuck in there when you're not that either. Nobody suffers from their toes. So I hope it helped. I hope it's useful. And that's just where my crazy mind has went today. So again, thank you and see you next week.
Thank you, Art. See you everyone next week.